Hey there, I'm actually coming to you live from the Media Lounge. So I just want to pre-say that I am allowed to be in here. I have asked, so I didn't just wander in willy-nilly or anything like that. I have, though, taken a booth. I'm not sure if that's kosher, but it was empty, and I figure that until someone needs it and comes and kicks me out, I'm going to be okay for a little while. The reason why I wanted to come in here, because, I have to be honest, I'm not a great expert on the media at all. So, fortunately, Amber Baines, one of our great speakers, her show, The Media Game, will be launching on Bryn very soon. I believe it's either this week or next week. But I just wanted to give you a bit of an insight of what it is like, because I think as small business owners, we want the media, but we're a bit scared of them and we don't know how to approach it. I know I feel these things, and I did a talk earlier today, and I did have a media outlet come up to me and ask me questions, and I did have butterflies in my stomach, I have to be honest, because I was like, oh my gosh, what are they going to ask me? But that's all part of it, and as entrepreneurs and small business owners, we have to suck it up and get used to it and just keep practicing, and we get better and better each time. But, I did have a chat to a couple of, I don't want to name their names because I didn't ask them permission, but let's just say they were from two very large publications here in Europe, just to ask them some questions of, what it's like and that type of thing. So first of all, I want to say when I walked into the Media Lounge, I honestly felt like I was walking onto a movie set, like it is when we see media rooms in the movies. But it was even far bigger than what I ever imagined. And I have taken some photos and I'll post them up later, but there was literally rows and rows and rows of tables full of journalists and writers and madly writing. And I discovered that, yes, they are meeting their deadlines, because all of them have different deadlines. And then there's other little breakout areas where people are being interviewed by different people. And then they have these little pods where they're doing radio interviews. And then they have this stage, which I took some photos of, where it's like people are going out with press releases, or they're being interviewed by a group of media people. And, I have to admit, for the first 10-15 minutes, I didn't know what to say. I didn't know who to talk to. I was just in shock a little bit because there's literally hundreds and hundreds of people in here. Yes, I did get the courage to speak to a couple of guys. One was a photographer and the other was a journalist, and they were sharing with me that even for themselves, this was very overwhelming. In all the 10 years of their experience, they had never been in a media lounge as big as this, so I didn't feel so bad then. And, I asked them some questions about, sort of how does it work? Do you get your instruction of what you should write from your editor and that kind of thing? And basically it was all down to experience. So if you were a new journalist to a publication, then yes, you're pretty much dictated to in terms of what stories that the editor wanted and that type of thing. But if you'd been with a publication for a certain amount of time, and you'd obviously got a few great articles under your belt, and you're deemed to be a trusted reporter, then and deemed to have a good feel of what your readers want, then yes, you could go out and sort of find things yourself. What they also said is, yes, they do get inundated all the time, particularly here at Web Summit, just because. Sorry, a thing came up there. Just because you have a media badge on, people will come and introduce themselves and just start pitching at you and what have you, and they really don't like that. And I can imagine that. I can't admit that I would like that either. And so, it seems to be not the approach. It seems to be that the better approach is that you need to build up relationships with journalists way before you even come to Web Summit, and maybe, if they're going to be here at Web Summit, then arrange to meet them there. But, build up that relationship months before you're even going to be here. I mean, even in the Media Lounge, I can tell by the feel there is no way that I would or could go up to people and just start pitching Bryn. I really just feel that I would be black marked or something like that. And I certainly I don't want to do that for us. But I'm sure Amber, when she gets on the Media Game, when we publish that she'll certainly give some insights into that. But it's definitely well covered by the media. I was interviewed for an article today, so I certainly hope that comes to great fruition for Brin. But things may be written about different companies that you just have no idea about. I mean, if you're speaking, if journalists had been walking around when you were at your booth, and you may not be aware, because often they'll stand back and they'll just listen to what you're saying or that type of thing. So you just don't know, and you just got to keep at it. You can't just let a moment go past, because you just don't know who you're going to meet. At a dinner last night, we met some incredible people in the startup community from the Nordic region, and they're well versed. They brought out a contingent of people to Web Summit. France did the same, brought out a contingent of people. On the breakthrough stage where I presented, there was one of the companies that presented there. They just found out this morning from one of their VC meetings that they've now secured $10 million. So it's just extraordinary, all the things that are happening here. And I really just feel that if you're in the tech space and your product is in the tech space, that you can't afford to miss conferences like this, because as I mentioned on the breakthrough stage, we've met 8 companies here. I mean, I've met a lot more than 8, but I'm just saying out of all the companies that I've met, there are 8 companies that we will definitely either be using their products or integrating with their products. And 3 of them were already testing the APIs and SDKs back in Australia. So these are companies that I just never would have found if I hadn't met them here or actually researched them before I came to Web Summit, once I knew they were attendees. And these are things that can really propel your business. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag of some of the features, because obviously we want to surprise the market, but some of them are incredible, and they can just really give you that little extra edge or that little extra bit of newsworthiness that will be of tremendous benefit to us and ultimately to the users of the Brin app. So that's it. I better sign off, because in case I'm kicked out, in case someone else wants to do a real interview for a publication, and I'll talk to you later.